Hi everyone, I'm JessGOAT.
And I'm Pengu.
And you guys are watching
Beyond the Siege.
That's right, we have a podcast now.
We'll be talking everything esports.
And also interviews.
And game updates.
Plus tournaments, teams, players, devs, etc.
So everything Rainbow Six?
Damn straight.
And when do we begin?
How about now? Alrighty, welcome back, guys, to another episode. I'm here yet again with Pengu, who is stuck with me on this podcast, who can never ever leave. But we have another episode for you. This one's a little bit different because, as you've seen recently in the past couple of weeks, we've released one of the best skins to ever be released into the R6 Share program. And that's what we wanted to deep dive for you guys. And I wanted Nick to bring on a very, very special guest to us, someone that means a lot to us here at PSG TALON. Who do you have for us today, Nick?
The one and only Mr. R6 pilot program himself, Koobi!
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh, is he? Oh, from the darkness himself! Deimos.
Welcome.
How's it going? Thanks so much for having me.
Of course.
You're a busy man, making a lot of skins, and I am by no means a designer myself. I actually suck at drawing, painting. When I close my eyes, I can't even imagine a box. Like, I have that condition where it's like a black screen. There's nothing going on.
Do you actually?
No, actually, I bet barely half the world has it. So if I close my eyes and imagine number 6, I don't see a number 6. I see just pitch.
I thought that was made up.
I heard of that.
No. So
if I say imagine an apple, can you close
that's what I
your...
always hear.
Nothing.
That is crazy.
Nothing in there. So,
actually, that's crazy.
So if I need to draw something from memory, I can't. I need to see visual reference and try and copy it. So coming from my side as a super non-artistic person,
Wow.
How do you get into design? What was your approach? Did you just have it as a talent? Did you grow into it? Did you study it? What was your path to get there?
Well, it was just, I mean, as a child, I feel like everybody kind of has that phase, or at least the younger people nowadays do. I had my kind of like YouTuber phase, you know?
Oh.
And well, what does every YouTuber need? He needs like a banner, profile picture, thumbnails, and everything. And well, I was doing gaming stuff, of course. And at some point, I needed a thumbnail, so I cracked Photoshop to use a Call of Duty World War II Photoshop thumbnail template, and that's how it all started.
So
incredibly legally, guys. By the way, the legal version of cracking. By the way,
I feel like
somewhere. I mean, you can't spend all this money on fancy equipment and setup if you don't know where you're gonna go with it, right? I mean, we've all been there.
I swear, you can ask like every second designer, and they all started this way. It's always the same. And after school, I did like an apprenticeship. I looked it up. In English, it's called audiovisual media designer. I don't know if that is the term really, but it's like a very widespread training. It's not focused on like one thing only, so it covers like video and audio and photo editing and graphic design. And yeah, it was nice, and I did finish it, but I always felt like I don't want to go in that direction because it's like more focused on broadcast and TV production and that kind of stuff. And I was already doing thumbnails on the side, and that started by like it was shortly before Modern Warfare 2019 came out, and I was like a huge Call of Duty fan back then. So I did like fan art, cover art back when everybody was discussing what the game would be, and there were like first leaks of what the cover art would be. And I made one and posted it on Reddit. And then Drifter, one of the OG Call of Duty YouTubers back then, reached out to me and was like, "Hey, you want to do thumbnails?" And that's how that started. And ever since I think 2017 Blood Orchid, I played Siege. So I kind of wanted to bring it over there. And then eventually I started working for Kini, and things got rolling. It all got a bit more professional over time, and now I'm doing mainly work for ESL and EWC, but also the skins on the side, of course.
how did you start with skins? Who was your first team? And you're talking to two people who can't draw a stick figure, so really dumb this down, explain it like I'm 5. How do you even start like drafting that kind of thing? Because if someone came to me and they're like, "Hey, we want you to design a skin," I would open up photop.com and I might try my best to put something together. What do you even do? And who was your first team?
I was like, well, the first team I think is also the one that I'm mostly known for, which is Astralis. because I think we all remember the Astralis Jäger drama back then.
Yep.
And that is actually one hell of a story because it also. Okay, let me start. I know back then I wanted to do a skin, but I didn't know where to start. So I just did like these concepts, posted them on Twitter. They performed really
That's
well,
right.
but
Yes.
I knew I needed to find my way into there, right? So I thought, okay, I make these concepts, get the attention of some people. Maybe it will work out. We'll see. And I was on vacation in Australia, one of the last vacations
Whoop,
with
whoop,
my
whoop.
parents.
Australia mentioned.
And exactly. And it was
Wow.
right after Berlin Major.
Oh, yeah.
And
Banger.
oh yeah, it's my favorite event and my first one as well. It was
Same.
great. And I know that Astralis had put out an Instagram story saying they need an illustrator. And I'm not an illustrator, but I know one or two things about graphic design and like art direction and stuff. And a friend of mine told me like, hey, you should apply for this anyway, even though you're not an illustrator.
Yeah.
And so I did. And yeah, things got rolling. And the funny thing back then is, Pengu, I don't know if you remember, but I made a tweet saying, oh my God, I got so sunburned. I look like Pengu with a sunburn. And because you were kind of known back then for always being getting super red when sunburned. And it was so bad. That was the worst sunburn of my life. Like I couldn't walk because my feet were sunburned. It was really bad. It was genuinely so bad. I was laying in bed for like an entire week. And meanwhile, that whole Astralis thing started to get rolling. And I had to have my first meeting with them. And I was on vacation with my parents, with the worst sunburn of my life, and also in Australia. And they were an A organization. So I had to call with them at 9 a.m., standing in the bathroom, just in underwear, with my parents in the next room, and had to have that meeting about my first ever Siege skin. It was crazy, honestly.
It's a great story.
But yeah, that's how that happened. And that's how I got the first ever skin that I did, which, well, unfortunately never came out, but it's still the first one. The first one that actually came out was the one for Koi. The Echo one.
For Echo, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The purple cool
one.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember.
And yeah, how you get going on these designs, it's kind of, it really depends on who the org is, on how professional they are, if they like have an idea of what they want to do. And it's always a bit complicated because there are some orgs that are like, yeah, we don't really know what we want to do. Just show us something. And then they just let us do. Like there are some orgs, I don't want to say any names, who does what, but like some orgs just trust us and we do our thing. And they say like, oh yeah, it's great, and approve it, and that's done. Wow. And some other orgs they don't really know what they want, but they don't really trust us that much. So it takes way more like revisions and everything. But for example, with Talon, it was, and I'm not only saying this because I'm sitting here in this interview, in this podcast, but I'm saying this because it genuinely is that way. It was the most professional we've ever been dealt with in terms of the skin production. So we had like weekly meetings. Everything was handled super professionally, which is great when you're coming from other orgs that are like, oh, hey guys, we need a skin design by tomorrow, get going. So
wait, someone's giving you 24-hour notice before? Is that a real story?
Kind of. For
within 48 hours?
For like an early draft.
Okay. Which is still stressful, I imagine, because you need to come up with a concept at that point.
Yeah. But it's also, we used to have way less time for these skins. So I actually was told, like, back in the early days when these skins were like super simple, and everybody now is referring to them as the good days without the anime skins, right? Back in those days, orgs only had like a week of time to get all the designs done. So that is actually one of the main reasons they were way simpler back then. And nowadays, even when I started, we had like, I don't know, like a month or so, and now we have like 3 months, sometimes more, depending on when the skins release. So yes, it gives us a lot more time to do better things, more polished things and everything. Yeah. And yeah, with Talon especially, we had like weekly meetings, really ironing it out, a lot of revisions to get it perfect.
So it's obviously I was in G2 back when we did the Vigil skin, the Jaeger skin, the Sledge skin. That was like my era with the organization. So before Sami Fenrir. And the only input I got as a player back then was the G2 designer that they had in house. He would make maybe 3 or 4 different headgears, chest pieces, and like bottom parts, and we go that headgear with that chest piece with those pants. Like that was how much we had to control over. And if all 4 options sucked, you're out of luck. Like that's all the 4 options that you got back then. We were lucky we had a great designer who, of course, got some bangers put together. I think the G2 Samurai Red Eye just kind of sold itself very naturally in Siege. But I had the same experience with PSG because this was my first time working on the skin very closely. I didn't do any work. I just want to put that up. All I did was say, that's cool, that's not cool, I would change this. But I've seen, I would say 3, and I think Jess as well, like 3 major iterations of the skin that we have. And the way it looks now as a finished product versus the very first one is very far from each other. Of course, it's the same inspiration, same color scheme, whatever. We can clearly tell there's a lot of thought going into it. And as you said, weekly meetings, a lot of things, a lot of small things changing from time to time to time. And it's super cool to be a part of and see.
I want to jump in real quick because you said we. Who is we? Is there more? Is there double Koobi? Did you clone yourself? How do you get it done? What's happening in Team Koobi?
No, I've ever since Astralis, so right from the beginning, I've been working with Nicola, who's a fantastic illustrator and artist. And yeah, we've been just teaming up for essentially every skin we've made, even in other games.
Oh, wow.
And on other projects. As long as it has an illustration, I usually try to get her on board. And yeah, we work together quite well, I hope and I think. And the vibes are just good. And yeah, so that's basically how these projects always go. She's doing the illustration part, and I'm like, hey, let's try this. And then she sketches it up, and we get there.
So you come with the ideas and the concepts, and then she will visualize them. Is that what the workload is? Or like how exactly is the workload? I don't know what Illustrator it does, to be honest. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I usually, I don't want to discredit her or anything. Usually I have an idea in my head, and then I just tell her what I roughly have in mind. And then obviously she gives me feedback and brings in her own ideas. And we just combine it together. And sometimes I send her like really shitty concepts that I made myself, or just inspiration and colors and fonts and everything I find online that kind of goes in the direction that I was thinking of. And I send it over to her, and then she does a sketch of it. And then we improve that sketch piece by piece until I'm happy with it and she's happy with it. And then we send it over to the org. So there's like a whole process going on behind the scenes that even the org doesn't really see until we're happy with the sketch ourselves.
Is what I'm about to show your process, or is it the process of you and our beautiful staff in the background? Hopefully my production skills are fantastic and this works. Is this, it's noted as mood board on my file system here. Is this little mood board something that you come up with? Does the org send it to you? Who did this?
This I did myself. That is just a collection of random images that I feel like kind of fit the vibe and showcase what we want to do. And that is like one of the first things we always do for every skin concept, usually. We just create a mood board with, like, as you can see, there are like 3 different fonts. There's like a tiger illustration, the logo, and then like these ceramic skins, also the inheritance skin from CS. And just like they give you an overall idea of the direction we want to go in. But obviously, you've all seen the skin. It is not exactly what the skin ended up looking, because even though that was the initial idea, just in the process of designing the skin, you notice, oh yeah, this doesn't actually work. This is too complicated. We need to tweak this a bit. And then the design just evolves a bit over the weeks and weeks. And then we come up with something else in between.
So I assume these kind of shapes and these types of things. I obviously randomly, and I know Nick's gonna, back me up on this. The chess piece was one of the bigger talking points between the content creators and everything, the staff, and I'm sure it went from the staff to you, Koobi, and of course, with Nicola and stuff. We discussed at length about the chess piece, and I hope the audience at home have noticed how refined that it ended up being, because there was a period of time where it was very busy and it was really hard to distinguish, and now it's quite refined and everything. Was that something that you got feedback through PSG from us?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I know that. I mean, the entire pattern, like the blue pattern that is on it, it was way more detailed in the beginning. It was
Yeah.
way more like the CS skin that was shown before. But we noticed at some point Siege isn't really that good with crazy small details. So we decided to like go with bigger shapes that aren't as tiny because they just work better overall. Siege is 10 years old by now, so on the technical side and graphics wise, it's a bit yeah,
Limiting?
it's just a bit limiting, yeah, like you said.
Yeah.
And so we decided to go with this instead. And also I think the shapes of the chest plate like changed a bit. Like the side panels were like smaller individual elements before. Definitely went through a couple iterations, but I think it came out great. Like the armor plates, it looks so different from the default Damus, and I feel like that is one of the most important things. Like you don't want to just recolor the skin. You want to make something that actually looks as if it was a different 3D model, even though it's not. That is like one of the best things you can do.
Yeah, we try to do some. I mean, this is not my idea. I know you. Correct me if I'm wrong. You work with SSG, is that correct? In the past.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
remember watching you rating the SSG skin.
Yeah, so obviously there's this skin that had what we call Easter eggs on the weapon skin, whether it's text or some small things. And I remember when PSG, my boss, reached out to me and said, "Hey Nick, we want to do these like incorporations. Can you like just write hi with a smiley face in your visual handwriting, and we'll see what we'll do with it." And this is kind of what came out of that. Like we're adding these small, tiny details to the skin from different creators, myself, Jess, and Fabian.
Yeah, exactly. Just can you go on the uniform on the weapon skin progress? I think it shows the Easter eggs.
Weapon
There's one of the
skin.
folders.
Ooh, weapon skin progress. Yes, I'm in. Oh
And
my
one
god,
of the
there's
later
lots.
ones, just the latest one, like 22.
22. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
zoom
and-
in for some of these parts. So you let me know where I'm zooming in.
On the little penguin there.
All right, there he is.
Exactly.
There's the little guy.
As you can see, that little knob that is at the bottom of the gun there, that red thing. And we're like, all right, we want to have some Easter eggs in there. What if we just make that the nose, the beak of the little penguin?
Yeah.
And then as you already mentioned, we thought like, all right, let's put like a cute little hi and smiley face next to it. But it would be much cooler if it was the actual handwriting of Pengu. So that's what we did for that.
That's
And
so cute.
Then of course we have like the GOAT status on the back.
Where am I?
Below the stock there. Exactly.
There it is.
Yep, upper one.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest, boys, and I'm usually pretty rough and tough kind of woman. I shed a tear when this was given to me by surprise. I don't know if you were by surprise because you've already obviously written your little hi for it. I hadn't written anything. I wasn't informed that I would be put on the gun. I obviously fully helped inspire the SMG 11 skin previously, and I was really, really proud of the ideas that I could help put into that, considering I can't design. They had to just take my ideas and make something come to fruition with it. But to have GOAT status on a gun in the game outside of like our charms and stuff is like, I mean, for me, it was so big. So the GOAT status is, yeah, I love it. Thank you for adding it.
Of course. I'm happy. Like it's just such a special thing seeing something that references you in the game that you have so many thousands of hours in, right?
Yeah.
And the little FH below the
below
grip.
yours, Jess. We have, of course, our good old friend Fabian, who was with us when we started this journey, and of course when we joined together back last year in March. FH Fabian Helstin, and then of course 3, because he'll never shut up about he's got 3 hammers, which is more than anybody else. And also the jerseys that we have, my jersey says 2 on it, Fabian's says 3 on it. So that's just how it goes.
Back to back.
Back to back. So I mean, these are super cool. And even if Fabian isn't with us currently on active duty, he still served a big part of the legacy that happened in last year into this one from the pro scene side of things, of course. With a lot of these kind of small design choices, Koobi, obviously you have your vision, what the org thinks they want, what they actually want, what's possible. Do you find yourself having to push back sometimes and go, this is a good idea, please consider it more? Or do you just go, you know what, we're doing what you're saying, it's your product, I don't care? Like, what's the fine line between vision and, you know, the work that you need to do essentially?
that is a really difficult one, honestly, because for me, it's always like, do I love what I'm doing here? And especially with this one, it is yes. So I will do anything to make the skin as good as possible. And if, for example, the org would come up with ideas that would make it bad, make it worse, I don't know, just ideas that I don't think are good, then I would definitely tell them and try to fight it and explain to them, hey, let's not do this. Let's make it like this. This can be better, etc. But there are also other cases with other orgs where it's been difficult to convince them that some ideas are maybe not the best for the end result. And it's a constant fight. Obviously not like an actual fight, but like it feels like one at times. To just convince the orgs of the things that work in Siege and the ones that don't.
Yeah.
But usually at the end, we come to a conclusion that everybody is more or less happy with, but it's always a process to get there, that's for sure.
Quick question, sir. Are you signing all of your weapons from now on? Because I see the serial code here. I love the idea. Are you allowed to do this like from now on?
It's in the blueprint.
I mean,
he has
I
to
don't know.
sign it.
I have done it on most skins. I think the only one that does not have it is the Koi one, because there were multiple people working on it. There was, well, obviously Nicola, but also Tyron, who works now for BDS. And but yeah, for all the other skins, that was mostly Nicola and me. I put my signature on there. But I think this is one of the last skins that will have it, because I was told that fake serial numbers are kind of an issue legal-wise.
Okay.
So we cannot really do that anymore. I mean, it's possible, of course, but it seems to always be a struggle to get that like approved. So these skins from now on that are coming out after this one have like a little tag that says certified made by Koobi, which is even cooler, but it's a bit harder to convince orgs to put my actual name in there rather than just a silly little serial number. But yeah, that's an even bigger honor, of course, having my actual name and logo in there.
What else can I show, by the way?
I was going to say, we have a lot of different skin progress. I'm curious how early this goes.
It goes way back.
Wait. What happens if I go all the way to 1? Are we ready?
It's bad.
Race yourself. Oh, it's not that bad.
Oh, I remember.
You know what? It's actually not that bad. I'm going to give you...
Fair, I was thinking of the uniform right now. The uniform looked way worse in the beginning, I think.
Okay, wait. Let's do the uniform then. Let's go uniform progress all the way down to number 1. Not bad.
No, that's not that bad.
That's not that bad.
It's less detailed and more raw, but I mean, it's the very first iteration.
Yeah, that was like a couple hours invested only, just the base colors. And as you can see, the colors were very different. Like all the shapes on the legs are missing. The shoulder pads is missing. Basically everything is missing except for the breastplate. And the headgear looked entirely different. But yeah,
it's close in inspiration. Like I can see it being the foundation for what we have now. And so obviously PSG, I mean, spill the beans. PSG was obviously happy with this first draft, for lack of better words. And then from there, I believe if I scroll this way, okay, between 1 and 2, we get a massive change. And then obviously you're speaking about the shoulder pads having certain textures and the embossed white carbon fiber. We start to go, okay, so where can we start adding some extra pieces? The gloves are fantastic, having those little plastic. I know when I was in the military, that's a very military thing that you have on your gloves, and that looks really cool. Where are we going from here? Okay, things start to get shinier. I love this, by the way. I don't know. These kind of details, I think orgs are missing out on. These, what do you call that? Straps?
Yeah, straps, I think.
I love it. The little PSG tag that hangs off the cape, for example, the straps from all of the areas. I mean, for me, you did a phenomenal job. I mean, look how many renders that you went through for this. I mean, this is just me flicking through. I believe there's 20.
Yeah, the changes get less noticeable towards the end because it's just small tweaks, of course. But yeah, the color change was quite the big one.
I love that. Look at the face change. Oh, I loved the final. Okay. I love that.
There's a lot of fine tuning there at the end, actually.
Yeah. And
I've only
the
seen 2 of these,
colors-
by the way, so I haven't seen the.
Oh,
Neither
okay.
did I. Yeah,
Yeah.
we only saw a couple.
Mm.
Yep. I love that. What is breastplate test? Now I'm just going
I think
through
there was
everything.
just one. Yeah, there was just. I don't know what we did there.
Okay, hang on. Can you go back to the weapons one and just kind of flick through slowly? Because I've
Yeah.
seen 3 different iterations. We've only shown 2 so far.
Oh yeah, there are a lot more in there that you
I
probably.
just want
Alright.
to point out, I loved if you zoom in on the trigger, the Talon's claw goes.
Yes, didn't
into
we
the
speak about that?
Yes.
Yes.
I was
Mhm.
gooning for it so bad. At the end. I was like, this is so, keep this, please. Obviously, PSG Talon, we have Talon, and then we had the tiger, the national animal of Korea, I believe is the concept for it. We had both in the beginning and the flowers, and then we went away from that concept later on, of course.
Oh,
Yeah, with
So
the
I've not seen that. This I've not
I've
seen.
not seen this. Yeah.
I have to say for the like little what is it called? For the foot of the
little-
what is it called?
Talon.
The stock? Or
Oh.
No, like the trigger being the foot of the
Yeah, it's
eagle,
actually the
salmon,
foot
bird.
the foot of, the little claw of the bird.
Yeah, the claws, exactly. The
The
claws being
claws,
the
yes.
trigger. I love that so much. I always love
Mhm.
doing
Yeah.
this. And I've been saying for years that the peak of weapon skin design, I feel like, is when you manage to make the illustration, in this case, the claw, use the actual shapes of the gun to its advantage. And there are like a couple other skins that I've seen over the years that weren't made by me, but they also do the same thing. And I always think that is the best thing. And looking back, my first ever skin, the Astralis 416C, was also doing that because it had like that Oni mask of that girl, and one of the teeth was using the trigger as well.
I love that. That's
So
super cool.
this must have been where Nick and I got back to PSG Talon, and I think there was a little conversation about the animal usage. I know I was rather strong on not mixing them, on picking one. I loved the look of using a feline of some type. I didn't necessarily think it had to necessarily be country related or anything like that in my mind.
Yeah.
But then also the idea of the talon being part of the claw and the bird also rung true for me. So you can see the sort of switch away from the beginning of, okay, where do we go with this? And then Nick and I sort of saying, well, I don't like the dual animal idea. It's too busy. There's a lot going on kind of thing. So I'm glad we moved away from sort of jamming too much ideas into it, because I think it turned out really good.
Yeah, I feel like we had to pick a style, right? And I felt like we had 2 conflicting styles in the beginning. Sorry, Koobi.
It is not good. It is so often that we design skins and we notice like, oh, this isn't working out. We're not really making the progress we thought we were going to do. And then we just notice it is just way too complicated. Let's just simplify it. And that's exactly what we did here. We just simplified it and it just worked.
Look at the zoom up. I mean, I can just, like, this is great, don't get me wrong. But this already, I feel like that's the vision I could see coming to life. And that automatically started to get into it. And by the way, Nick, I don't know if you've seen this. I can just...
Which?
Is that a reference to you? An old school reference to you?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there were a couple iterations of
how the hammer with 3. Yeah,
exactly, of how we include the Easter eggs. I think the hammer we ended up not being able to do because I don't think we were allowed to use the actual sledgehammer, but I'm not sure anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was that where it started to go into that sort of area. And this one of, do we put the operator on there? I love the idea. I've not seen this. That's a cool idea. But also you have to think how busy
it's very busy.
It would look.
Exactly.
I love that. Personally, I love that.
Oh, that's very anime-like, I feel like. Not in a bad way, but more like you have the face being very centered, you know.
Okay, that's cool. That's a cool idea. I like that. Okay, and then we get back to the pick your poison of what we're going with.
Also,
we
different
just had
tiger faces.
we had so many different versions of just Tiger sideways.
Oh, love this.
And then
I just love it.
boom, all of a sudden
Yeah.
we're back to this.
Yeah, and
I
then
mean-
we slowly
Yeah.
got closer to the final.
Just
so
matches the
I
uniform
saw
so well.
the first iteration with the bird and the tiger. Then I saw just the tiger, like the full character, not the eyes, and then I saw the final version. So for me, it was like 2 characters, 1 character, and then the eye head shape like we see currently. Very big change for me, and I think simplifying it down to this
Agreed.
iteration was such a good change. Honestly, I didn't
I
have
agree.
that vision myself when I was giving feedback, but when I saw this, I was like, "That's the one. Like, this is what we want to do for sure."
I mean,
Yeah, I'm so happy we ended up on this one. There was some discussion about this up until the very end almost, but I'm so happy we settled on this. It just works.
who
so
came
damn
up
well.
with this, might I ask? Don't miss. Why we got the
I-
don't miss, which I love,
I-
by the way, but why?
I don't
It's on the
exactly
scope, yeah.
remember, but yeah, this one, the issue with that is it's not actually in the game because that part of the gun doesn't have skin on it. It doesn't
Right.
actually apply the weapon skin to that.
Okay.
So even though we planned it, it just never made it because that's just not covered by the skin,
Mm.
unfortunately.
The gun is great, and mind you, only one operator has. 2 operators have this gun. I was
2
about to say
operators.
1. I
Yeah.
don't use it on Nomad personally because I think the ARX hits like a truck. But I'm going to
That's
use
the
it now.
big
Don't worry,
one.
PSG Talon. PSG Talon's like in my DMs, like you put that weapon on right now. I'm like
better.
But there are 2 weapons. But I think one of the most important things is that we really fought for Deimos. And when I say we have to shout out to the staff behind the scenes who were really hardcore about this skin. They put their entire life, they worked lots of hours on this. And I think really where it comes to fruition is the uniform. You saw in our trailer video, the beautiful Lauma put together and built the entire uniform in real life. And I think given that Deimos, I love you, Ubisoft, but there's no other really good Deimos skins that are in existence, and maybe none that will ever trump the one that we've been able to come up with. We've been able to give Deimos a really cool uniform for the community to have. And I think for me, this is the big celebration because the gun skin is awesome, but this uniform is just, I mean,
I think it's very bold and very fierce because let's say we looked at, let's say Nook, for example, right? We think very stealthy operator, has to either almost like blend in and be hard to detect. Deimos wants to fight you, and he's not afraid to give away his positioning with the track when you use the gadget, for example. This skin is a little bit loud from a color scheme perspective, but it works for Deimos in terms of like what the operator brings. The tiger, we talk about aggression, swiftness, etc. And I like the whole skin. As you said, there aren't a whole lot of skins for Deimos, period. There's like the collaboration skin recently from the Boys TV show, and there's like 1 default skin, I think. So not much competition. 2 weapons. I mean, we're super happy with what we got because I think all the players, content creators, we got together and we voted for what every single operator and gave them a ranking of which one we think is the best one to get in if we can choose. And Deimos was up there.
We were fighting.
I remember when I got the news that we got Deimos, and I was so happy because I never thought we would get that.
Neither did I. Neither did I.
I was certain that G2 would get that. And
So were we.
I mean, G2 Deimos would have just been free money for them, right?
Yeah.
Like that would have been so easy to make. Can't really go wrong with that. But I'm so glad we had that. Like Deimos itself is such a like blank canvas almost. He has such a nice mask and clean and cool uniform. You can do almost anything with him. And it offers so much creative freedom. It's great, honestly.
No. I loved how involved everything was. Like,
I
it's
love
been
the
a very
colors
long
now.
time. Like the progression of it all.
Yeah.
The colors. I mean, do you know the background story of the colors?
I don't know. I can see them down here, but I don't know.
I was gonna say, I assume it's just like,
Well, as you can see, we started with like a different blue, a different red at first. And the first idea was just to have something that represents France, represents South Korea. And at some point we were like, all right, this is maybe too saturated, too much, just doesn't feel right. And then PSG Talon came up with like, hey, let's use the PSG blue and let's use the Talon red. That way we have the two countries in there, have PSG in there, and have Talon there, basically all combined into one color scheme. It honestly couldn't fit anymore. It's literally perfect in that way.
Yeah. It's a very clear message as well. Like when you look at this, you can easily go, "Oh yeah, this makes sense." Like they use these color schemes, like it represents
Yep.
either the org, the branding, the partnership, etc., the country. Like it's super logical.
I love it.
Yeah.
I could look at it all day.
It's a long time in
This
the making.
this here,
Microsoft.
what is that?
I
that?
also didn't know for a long time. I'm pretty sure that is when you like lose like half of your arm, for example. You put it around
It's a
your
tourniquet?
Oh,
and then
really?
I didn't know the name. And then you like spin the thing to stop the blood flow.
That's
Oh.
cool. An emergency tourniquet. That's awesome. Okay. I was gonna ask because I thought it looked like that, but then I didn't want to sound like an idiot. So I was like, okay. That's okay. Those little details. I mean, teams aren't really doing this. Some people are just slapping color schemes together or a little anime image, which it sells. I'm not gonna deny. I have bought lots of R6 share skins in my lifetime, and I will continue to. But same with the SMG 11 skin. I had a lot of pride with that. I think we did really well, and then we came into this year. And the amount of meetings, I don't think people understand. I know you had more meetings than us, Koobi. I get it. But the amount of meetings that Nick and I had to pick operators, to give feedback on this, to film trailers, to storyboard and this and that. And like, we were so involved in this skin, and for it to come out so well and for it to be something I could be proud of marketing. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. And now to know, because I haven't looked through this drive, I tried not to, so that I could see the progress naturally and to see how it sort of started and how it came to be. How many weeks or even months did it take you from start to finish? PSG Talon contacts you, and then you're sitting with us now in this call. It's currently June. So how many months has it been?
I think we started, like the first time we talked about it was, I think at EWC, and we started right after. Usually ASIC share bundles start production like September around. And I don't know how much time we had, but like solid 2 or 3 months.
Looking at the first skin that you created with Koi or Estrada, so take it to now, has there been any big changes, like limitation, what isn't possible? Has it mostly been the same? And also, when it comes to limitations, do you get like a big sheet? This is possible, this isn't, or do you just have to push them and see like what they go with for approvals? Like, how does that work?
Okay, now it gets to the part where I don't know what
Okay.
of this I can talk about and what
Fair enough.
not. But like
The editor's like, do I cut this?
No, there's a list of guidelines. So obviously things that you can imagine. You're not allowed to show excessive gore, drug use, stuff like this.
Fair.
I'm also very happy that AI is absolutely not allowed. Stuff like Midjourney, etc., completely forbidden. So that's a very good thing. It's always the best to, when you have an idea, even though that's usually not, it's not common for ASIC share, it's usually not being done or you haven't seen it before, push for it, try it, ask if they let you do it, and either it works out or it doesn't. For example, like there are certain, you know how you can only use certain headgears? Like you always have to use the default uniform model, but you can choose from headgears. And for example, the G2 Jäger uses a headgear that was never used on any other skin. That headgear only exists for G2 Jäger. I have no idea how they did that. I really want to know. But they got that headgear. Yeah, I swear. It's the G2 bonus. They got that headgear somehow.
They're also giving Sledge with the SI Hammer. They were giving like Jaeger the most played up at the time. Like they got, I think we just got first prio, man. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah. And you can definitely, you can get some crazy things. Just, you have to ask for it and just try and convince them. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Always worth trying.
Okay. Then I have one question left that I'm very curious about, and you don't have to talk about this if you can't. Financially speaking, do you get a flat amount when you do the job? Do you get a percentage of sales? Do you get a KPI if there's, the sales reach a certain like goal, for example? What does it look like from the financial side or business side of this for you? Like, Is it a one price? Is it performance based? Do they come back and give you, hey, you did a great job here, take some more? Like, what's the deal? If you can talk about that.
Basically, everything you mentioned has happened in some shape or form.
Okay.
Usually, it is one flat price for the whole thing, which I obviously also have to split with Nicola. It is very rare that we get royalties offered by the org or whoever hires us to do a skin. It has happened, and well, I haven't gotten paid for it yet because the skin is not out yet, but I hope it will work out well. And obviously, the prices vary a lot from whoever hires us, whoever the client is. Some pay less, some pay more, some pay incredible amounts. Like there has been one project that has generally been life changing, but other ones are usually like they pay fair. Should be more, to be honest, but it's fine. Royalties have become very rare, I think. There was a time where we were offered royalties or choose between royalties or like a flat rate. And I reached out to some pros and asked them, hey, like, what royalties are you getting for skins? Because I always heard that pros are getting royalties from their org. And basically, all of them told me, oh, yeah, we get like super low rates or we don't get any at all anymore. It was changed. And I was like, oh, damn, I didn't know that. So we always just ended up with going with the flat rate in the end. It's easier for everyone because when you're like 2 years in and then let's say PSG Talon you have to invoice PSG Talon for like $20, that's not really worth it anymore.
Yeah.
So it's usually better to go with that flat rate.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. It's when pilot program first launched, players basically were guaranteed a cut. And the change that you mentioned is that nowadays the org isn't forced to give you a cut. The players have to fight for that in their contract negotiations and bargaining tool. And often what happens is that players don't have the strongest bargaining chip, right? We're gamers, high school dropouts, whatever, right? You get into this, you want to get $100 a month and you're happy, right? Some pros negotiate better than others, and some people sign away way too much power without fighting hard enough to get it. So, yeah. Some players just screw themselves over. So you gotta fight for what's yours.
Yeah.
No matter if you're a player or an
Makes
illustrator or a content creator.
That's probably a nice little disclaimer if you're a player or a future player who's going to be involved in the skin share program in any way, shape, or form. Please fight for yourself. Your org will probably in your contract somewhere say that you are required in one of the clauses to market the skin. That's called advertising, and you should be paid for it beyond what is your normal salary to play the game, scrim, practice, so on and so forth. So please, if you don't have an agent, hire one just for the negotiations, get an esports lawyer, something like that, and say, I would like some percentage. Negotiate with the organization. They're used to it. Trust me, it won't make them turn around and go, we don't like you anymore. We don't want you. They know what it looks like. That is so normal for organizations. So please do fight for yourself. Back when I was a coach, even I got a cut. All right. I got a cut of winnings. I got a cut of this and that. You know what I mean? It wasn't as big as the players, but I still got a cut because I fought for the time that I invested or marketing that I did. So please go out there and do it, guys. And I would love to see some kind of royalty thing because we're starting to see creator codes in the game and everything like that. So I would love to see some kind of artist codes. Are you part of the Ubisoft creator program, Koobi? Do you have a code that you would love everyone out there to know about? If so, please plug it now so that people can start giving back.
Koobi, of course.
There we go.
I hope that the creator codes can be used for like ASIC share stuff in the future. That would be sick. Obviously, for me, that would be sick. Promoting my own skins with my own code, that would be perfect, honestly.
Yeah. Well, for now, it's I was going to say, for now, people can buy things and have your code at the bottom. Go into shop, scroll down at the bottom. It says support a creator. Type in KOOBI. Koobi. I believe Pengu and I also have it. But this whole episode is about shouting out guys like Koobi who literally are the reason that we have the R6 skin share at the level that we do have it at. How many, can I ask? Because I feel like this is a really good way to pinnacle the end of this episode. How many skins are you dropping this year? Because I wouldn't say this skin cycle because I believe they're dropping in multiple sections. In 2025, how many are you involved in? Approximately.
I mean, I'm not sure if they are all still releasing in 2025, but let's say in this like skin cycle, I'm pretty sure it is 14 bundles.
1-4.
1-4. It is. Yeah,
You're doing
things escalated.
14.
Things escalated a
What?
bit. I
Where
remember.
did you find the time?
Yeah, I don't know. So in like 2023, you know, I made Astralis and Koi, 2 bundles, easy peasy, not that bad. Then 2024, I remember tweeting out that I think I made 7 bundles or so.
Yeah, I want to
Okay.
say 7.
And I remember that, yeah, Unique replied to it and we're like, 7? What the hell? And now we're here with 14.
Wow.
Do you just run it?
Yeah,
Is it a monopoly now? Are you like telling orgs like, I have 5 other orgs bidding for my time, double the rate or you will get yours?
I wish. I mean, it is kind of crazy because now that the skin program got reduced to like, I think it's 20 orgs only, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have worked, or we are actively working with 5 of them. So you could say that we are involved with like 25% of the entire program, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And obviously this doesn't add up to 14. But there are a couple other things that we worked on for Siege that are coming that are not directly org related. But yeah, there's some sick stuff coming, and I'm pretty sure altogether it should be 14. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Wow.
From humble
Yeah.
beginnings to
What is
owning
free
the whole
time
market.
anyway, huh?
I was
what
going to
is free time,
ask,
really?
you're like, oh, sometimes they
is-
give us a week or 2. And I'm like, okay, but if you've got 14 in a week or 2, sounds like not much time to live life, bro.
It is bad. Currently, it's been quite bad, honestly. Like,
Mhm.
I love doing Siege skins. I love it more than anything. It is my absolute passion project. It's never been about the money. I just wanted skins in game.
Yeah.
And here we are, and it's great. But I just need more free time. And so I personally, for myself, kind of decided already that I want to reduce my workload, especially the new bundles that are coming that got announced with like the drone skins, etc. Like those, the issue is the operator bundles, I'm pretty sure, get designed from like September for a couple of months. And right after that, the next one start already, the drone bundles start. And they go until September of the next year. And in between is EWC. And I'm working on all of that. So I basically have no free time at all. Where before it was, I had like multiple months, like 6-7 months, where I had no work except for, well, ESL, EWC. But now I'm basically working on Share the entire year and have no more time for myself, which is really annoying. So I, for myself, already said I don't think I'm going to do the drone bundles anymore in the future because I just need that off time, that half year or so where I can just do stuff for myself.
Yeah.
And not get a burnout. That's pretty nice,
Yeah.
I think.
It's
So
important.
yeah, that's a like work-life balance decision I fear I have to make next year.
I mean, having cranking out all these skins for a year or 2, then burning out versus reducing work, looking going for 5 years all of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
And prioritizing your own happiness is super important. I've been there as a player. I'm sure just you as a coach and as a content creator, as a caster, analyst, whatever. You have to choose yourself first sometimes in life to sustain yourself long term.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to hear that from you. Obviously, that's huge.
You
it's so
noted
very important.
EWC. You'll be working EWC this year as well, yes?
Yes, I fly
Okay,
there
cool.
in like 2 weeks.
So in 2 weeks, Koobi will be leaving, which actually is kind of when this video will go out. So when you guys are watching this live, Koobi will be in Riyadh working EWC. We'll obviously also have the teams flying out in August to play Rainbow Six out in Riyadh as well. Are you going to be working the event, Pengu? Are you in EWC or Riyadh at any point? A little, joining in. Usually as the host of the podcast, I ask the questions and I just get you guys results. Speaking of EWC, JessGOAT. So we can
all right.
we can all add those little secrets in there. So yes, burnout exists. Some of us come back from hiatuses, some of us don't. So I'll leave that with you guys there. Code Koobi in the support a creator. I'm going to drop that again. Follow Koobi on socials. I know he's very active on X, also known as Twitter, and follow all of the social medias. Koobi will drop them below the video. And of course, on Twitter, you guys can see that as well. Is there anything you want to leave the community with? Maybe an org owner or someone involved in skins is watching this right now. you're going to start upping your premiums because you're a very busy and well deserving man. So anything you want to let these people know?
Well, thank you to the entire Siege community. Due to this game, I can live my dream, honestly. I can build my own legacy in game, have my designs in game. That is what I've dreamed of for years. And here I am living it, even though I'm stressed out as hell. It's great. And it couldn't be any better. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And well, I hope I can deliver some more good designs for you guys. And I hope you enjoy them. Thank you so much.
There he is, man himself. Please go follow. Press that big fat follow button. I'm going to press unfollow. I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. But please do go follow.
again.
I'm going to unfollow and follow.
It's, Siege obviously started very small as a game, and we've been very fortunate that we've had multiple individuals like yourself kind of rise as like just small community members who now has significant, impact positively on the community. And I love that we keep growing and doing these things. And you've always been a great guy. You said that Berlin Major was a great event. It was your first. I remember we met each other at that event as well, outside on that staircase. It was a late evening,
I
and
still
people
have that
started
pin.
coming up. Yeah, exactly.
The coin, yeah.
The coin, yeah. And I got you the coin, and I also have right behind me on the shelf actually the I guess technically pins, so you can like zip them in like the round circle
exactly.
guys with your logo on it. So it's always nice exchanging those small presents and sharing the space together. So thank you for being who you are and what you've done so far. It's awesome, and now we've directly worked together on the skin, which is incredible.
Thank you so much.
All right, well, I have tears in my eyes, so I think that's a great time to chill out a little bit. For those of you watching in July, it's currently June for us here filming this. The skin hasn't released for us. We are so excited that you guys are either purchasing, showing, screenshotting the skin and everything, all of the hard work that Koobi, myself, Nick, and all of the PSG Talon team has done. Thank you so much for supporting us and the players as well. We can't wait to show you more into the future. And yeah, until next episode, guys, we would love to hear future guests you would like to see. I know a lot of podcasts aren't talking to creative parts of the community. It doesn't matter who you suggest, as long as they're part of Siege, we want to interview them. Put them below, and we'll see you guys next episode. Bye.